Today is a special day as PVR Inox launches the timeless classic Umrao Jaan 44 years after its original release back in 1981 in 4K restoration. Re-releases of iconic films like Umrao Jaan not only taps into nostalgia but also exposes the younger audience to magnificent storytelling and also unlocks fresh monetary value. Today, I'm thrilled to be talking to Sanjeev Kumar Bijli, who is the Managing Director of PVR Inox. Sir, thank you so much. My first question to you is, Umrao Jaan is a cinematic gem, right?
Yeah.
And it has been celebrated for its iconic storytelling and Rekha ji's marvelous performance. What was the rationale behind choosing Umrao Jaan for the
Yeah.
4K restoration release?
Yeah.
How did you really narrow down on this film?
Well, I think you've answered the question in the question itself because it's so iconic.
Yes.
And at the time also, it was so talked about for her magnificent performance. I mean,
Yes.
she was absolutely splendid in it. Plus the direction, the storyline, the costumes. And I was only it came out in 1981, so I was only 9 years old at the time. But still it was talked about for his jewelry. That there were so many pegs,
Yeah.
and there were so many stories around the entire film that it was like a cult film. And of course, the music, the songs. And in our re-release strategy, we've re-released about 280 films last year.
Okay.
And some of them have done well, some of them haven't done well. But we're always looking out for those cult films and for
Right.
those gems that made an impact. And they haven't had a cinema release for a very long time. And 44 years is a very
It's a
long
long
time
yes.
to actually to be able to show a film in its proper restored way and format and show it to a generation that's completely missed it. I think in this case, more than one generation have missed it because
Yeah.
it has been 44 years.
Yes.
And we're so fortunate to have this film and the support of both Muzaffar ji and Rekha ji for this film. So I think it's a big day and a big momentous moment.
Of course. And
Yeah.
I think it's very, very exciting to see Umrao Jaan come back to the big screen after
Yeah.
such a long time, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know, when you're bringing back such an iconic film from that time, what were the challenges that you faced, while bringing back this film? Because I'm sure that you had to keep the essence of this film intact, but also enhance the visual and the auditory appeal of it.
Yeah.
So, could you highlight and take us through the journey of the challenges that you may have come across while releasing the film?
No, honestly, there weren't that many because now you have the technology, right?
Right.
The technology to restore a film is there now. I mean, this was 44 years ago, and now in 2025, the technology has become so much better now that you can restore these films in its proper 4K format. It's just that it takes a while. It just takes it takes a number of years to do that, but you are able to do that, and you just have to be patient till you get it right. But I think once it was decided that one has to sort of like restore this and release this film theatrically, the technology was there to overtake and bring it to life again.
I actually wanted to ask you, what kind of content strategy do you adapt to pick these films? Because are you looking at what works on social media, or are you looking at the box office numbers of these films that released at their original time? So what are the parameters that you choose to pick these films and then re-release them?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think one of the learnings early on was that we were picking up films that had a previous box office record. Like Rockstar was probably one of the first films that we did, and it had a certain cult following because of its music and
Definitely.
performance. The music was brilliant.
Yeah.
Then we suddenly sort of like realized that there is a lot of social chatter on our handlers. And we sort of started to do the social listening very carefully.
Social listening.
Social listening. And then that is what people were coming to our handlers and actually talking about the movies that we should re-release. So they were coming themselves and saying, hey, why don't you release this movie again? We'd love to watch it on the big screen. What about this film? Because for them also, Rockstar started a trend that PVR Inox is looking at re-releasing films, old films. So once that hook is something which we actually found, we then started to work on that more organically. We started to create a hype around it. We
Okay.
started to create contests around it. We started to proactively ask our consumers, which movie would you like to watch? What is the first choice? Which is your cult film? And from there, we got a lot of data, a lot of rich data, and a lot of list of films that people were very keen to watch it back on the big screen.
So then, which film exactly shocked you when it came to its re-release numbers? Like, really, like you did not expect this kind of traction, and it just blew the theaters away.
Actually, last year, Tumbaad was one of them, which actually hadn't done that well in its first release, but did phenomenally well in its re-release. Laila Majnu, suddenly, I think because, you know, that it was Tripti's first film, but then post Animal and all these films, she had gained so much popularity that people want to come and watch her again.
Yeah.
So they wanted to see what she sort of like, what was she like before.
Yeah.
Sanam Teri Kasam, which literally we decided to play on a Friday, on a Tuesday, with no marketing, nothing at all, and suddenly like people sort of like found it playing in the cinemas, and people came to watch it. So it's very unpredictable. Yeah, highly unpredictable. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so also, why don't you shed some light on how your alternate content strategy is fueling your revenues, your revenue stream,
Yeah.
and how's it really changed the revenue ballgame for PVR Inox?
Well, I think re-release is just one of them, and of course, in addition to this, we also have alternate content, which is concerts, stand-up comedy, live recordings of religious sermons. We've done that also.
Wow.
Yeah, so a whole lot of sort of like different content that we play. Right now, it's early stages since we sort of started this about a year and a half ago. But still, in that year and a half, it's contributed about 8% of the revenues, which is not a bad number to start with. Yeah.
Okay, wow. I also want to ask you, because you've been in this business for such a long time, today, how's the Indian theatrical space poised as compared to the international theaters that we have already? Do you think we're there at the top of it? Because I know we are the largest manufacturers of cinema in the globe.
Yeah.
But where do our theaters lay right now?
In terms of number of cinemas
Yeah.
and the penetration of screens per capita, we're low, of course.
Okay.
We are low as compared to the US and China. We need more theaters for sure. But as far as the experience is concerned, I think we are better, if I may say so myself, because technology-wise, we're like the same. We have the Dolbys, we have the PXLs, the IMAX, the 4GX. We have all of that. We have laser projectors and all that. So we're like very competitive as far as technology is concerned. And I think where we're scoring is on the ambience. We have a better experience because the ambience that we have created, it's a lot more luxurious. It's a lot more fun. And also the F&B is much better. We have a lot more offerings on F&B, which caters to the Indian audiences. Because as Indian audiences, we like to go out and have a wholesome experience. We won't be happy with just a hot dog and a popcorn.
Right.
So we have a great sort of menu.
Okay.
And more F&B offerings. Yeah.
Okay. Can audiences expect any other timeless classics coming to PVR Inox theaters soon?
I think Sholay is coming.
Wow.
I know, yes. And I read about that just this morning, and I was like, wow. And I think that's the beauty of this product that we created, that it also excites the producers.
Yeah.
They've been sitting on these gems and on these IPs that we created like decades ago.
Yeah.
And they realize that there is value in bringing back these gems after restoration back to the theaters and monetizing them again. Why not? And actually not just monetizing them, but reaching to an audience which is completely fresh.
Yeah.
Which is a completely new generational audience that has skipped watching these films on the
Definitely.
big screen. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It was lovely
Thank
conversing
you.
with you and getting so much insight into your strategy. We're really excited for all the films that you have lined up.